Hello everybody and welcome to this, another edition of a late night screen review, and this week we're talking about The Strangers, Chapter 1. It's not the first Strangers film though.
Do you hear that?
Hear what?
The silence. It's nice. Is Tamara here?
No?
I think you have the wrong home.
So, The Strangers, Chapter 1, directed by Renny Harlin, and is out in all major theatres from the 17th of May. So we're a little late on this one. I've been ill. People are strange when you're a stranger. So what's the story? Morning Glory. So this film tells the story of two young lovers who are off into the woods for a weekend away, a sort of holiday for, I guess, like their 5th anniversary of being together, but they're not married though. And their car breaks down in this small, tiny little town at this garage. They stop by, they have to get their car repaired, they have to stay overnight, and they stay in a cabin in the woods, basically. And people stop by to say hello in the middle of the night. Rah, rah. When you're strange, people come out in the rain. When you're strange. So what did I think of the movie? I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. So, here's the thing, everyone. This is a late night screen review. The reason being is because I was ill over the weekend and I just couldn't get out to the cinema. I was in bed. My girlfriend had to look after me. I was a right mess. So, as soon as I could get up for you guys, Sunday night, I went out last night and saw this movie. And what did I think? Well, to be honest with you, and here's the shocking news, folks. I've never seen The Strangers. I know the trailers, I've seen clips of the films, etc., but I've never actually seen the movies. So this was my first experience seeing the Stranger series. I had a vague passing of what the story is about, etc., and I'd seen the trailer and wasn't really that excited about it. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and see this movie. I had looked into it and kind of heard that on the internet that it's going to be one of 3, so it's literally going to be a trilogy, and presumably it's going to be one long narrative, one long story. So this is only part 1, and the movie does end with a to be continued. So there you go. But the story. Here's my kind of initial reactions. Just the look of the movie, the way it's shot, its stylization, all that kind of good stuff. It reminded me of like a parody movie. I thought honestly that it was going to kind of be more like a kind of like an Ash versus Evil Dead, like a horror comedy. Just from the colour palette of the film, the cleanness of it, if that makes sense. It looked very like TV show kind of style. Even the main 2 characters, their clothes were very like, I don't know how to describe it, like Marvel Comics, like computer game characters, very, very base colours. They stop off in the middle of the woods before their car breaks down to go get a lunch at a diner, and it's all very stereotypical American diner with the waitresses. There are hillbillies hanging around with baseball caps on. There are like the local sheriff chewing gum, and they all stop and stare at this couple like they've never seen 2 human beings come into a diner before. It's all very cliche. It's cliche after cliche after cliche in this film, to an extent where, as I say, I almost thought it was a parody. It wasn't bad per se, it was just really like kind of strange. I was like, is this film supposed to be, you know, serious? But apparently it is. Apparently this film takes itself incredibly seriously to the detriment of the movie. So essentially this 2 young couple, they break down, they stop off in this garage, they get their car repaired overnight, and so they're going to have to stay at this local B&B, this house, which is basically just a cabin in the woods. They're a young couple, they're in love, you know, this, that and the other. They cook dinner, they have sex, they dance to music, they drink a little beer, etc. And then there's a knock at the door, like that. And there's a shadowy figure that comes to the door. They open the door wide open, and there's just this black shadowy figure stood right in front of them. Why none of them think to maybe put a light on or to ask who they are, because they don't. They just have a little bit of a back and forth with this character, and then the character just leaves. And of course our main protagonists go, huh, that's weird. And it's like, yeah, that's really weird. Maybe you should find out more about it, react, talk about it. But they don't. They just act like it goes away. At one point in the film, the boyfriend has to go back to the garage to get something from his car, and the girl's left alone. And that's when things start to go wrong. There's another knock at the door. The shadowy figure comes back, and instead of the girl reacting, she doesn't open the door, but she talks through the door with this person. And instead of getting scared or reacting or asking questions, she just keeps trying to fob it off and walk away from the door. And then she doesn't get a knife. She doesn't lock any other doors. She doesn't get scared. She just kind of listens to music and smokes weed and kind of walks around the house. And then at one point, she actually sees a figure in the house, stood in the corridor, bold as brass, with a mask on. She reacts, she screams, she cries. Then the boyfriend comes back and he can somehow convince this girl that it's all okay. Okay, I guess. I don't understand. Again, are we supposed to be taking this seriously? Like, literally? But as the film progresses, it's all very stereotypical. You've seen this film a million times if you've seen any horror movies, especially any slasher films. You know, the house invaders come in, they break through the doors, there's jump scares, there's quiet moments, there's peering round cars and hiding in shadows and hiding under things and the feet coming into view. Oh my God! All that good stuff's here. Running through the woods because it's obviously surrounded by woods. The characters, again, just keep acting very strangely. At one point, the female and the girlfriend and boyfriend get split up in the woods, and she hides and buries herself, which is a really smart thing to do. She rings the police and gets through, which is a really smart thing to do. Brilliant. She's basically gotten away. She's kind of solved the case because the police are going to come. She then, at the next point, is wandering away from the house and further into the woods and has essentially escaped. There's no way that, because there's 3 mass killers, there's no way that these mass killers could find them. Because the mass killer comes along, she's buried, they then turn around and leave, presumably back the way they came, and she goes the other way. So she's escaped. But instead of continuing to escape, she goes back to the house. Why? At the same time, the man is walking around, the boyfriend is walking around with a shotgun and comes across one of the killers, and at point blank has her at his mercy. He even asks her to drop the knife because she's holding a ginormous knife, obviously there to butcher them, to kill them. It couldn't be more blatant. The knife is literally bigger than she is. She drops the knife and he doesn't shoot her. Why? And it's also the end of the movie. This takes the whole film, by the way. These 3 serial killers are such badasses that they can't, and there's only these 2 characters, they can't kill these 2 young people until right at the end of the movie. So what have we been watching? It's just like, what's happened in this film? Now, the inevitable happens. There's going to be some spoilers now, so if you don't want to hear about the rest of the movie, go check it out, but pause the film. But I'm going to talk some light spoilers. Light spoiler alert. So the 3 serial killers managed to capture the young couple, and they've got them tied up, and it's near the end of the movie. The police are coming, right? So it's all over. So this whole film, we'd be waiting to see what's going to happen, how it's going to go down, and all they essentially do is one of the characters has a big knife. He stabs one of them in the stomach and pushes the chair over. He then goes over to the other character, stabs her in the stomach and pushes the chair over. And then the police come, and then they leave, and that is the movie. That is the film. So you're left kind of like, what, really? That's the ending? This film is weird because not a lot happens. It's all built on cliche upon horror cliche. It's nothing you've never seen before. It's a very slow burn. The kills at the end are the only kills in the entire movie, and they're very lackluster. And then you think, oh wait, hold on, maybe it's because this is chapter 1. And in the next couple of chapters, there's going to be this big overarching story. And so this is a slow burn starter. That's what it is. So maybe this is interesting. Maybe there's something to hold on to. I tell you why I don't really like that, though, as a concept. The reason I don't like it is because if that is the idea behind these trilogy of movies that are going to be coming, then the filmmakers should have done something where the audience has something to get their teeth into. There's some suspense. There's like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? oh my god, that character survived. I wonder what she's going to go through in the next couple of movies. I wonder how it's going to affect her personality. Those that young couple were in love and they were going to get married, and now that's all over. So how is it going to progress? Now here's where the film ruins that, because the end of the movie is thus. She's in the hospital, she wakes up and she's survived on her own, and you think, oh my god. Then there's the credits happen, and then there's a post-credit sequence, and in the post-credit sequence, one of the serial killers is already in the room. Now that suggests to me personally that they've tracked her down and they're gonna kill her, because they're literally in the room with the girl on their own, so they're gonna kill her, right? So she's dead. So what exactly are we coming back to in the second movie? Because the three main killers weren't very effective. There wasn't a lot of gore or violence. There wasn't any kind of intrigue, clever backstory, little nibbles of something going on there. There's literally nothing. Sorry about that, folks. My light literally went out, and so we had to restart the video. So I've only got natural lighting now, so I really apologise. But we're gonna mosey on through because I want to get to the end of this video. So yeah, essentially, it sets the film up like there may be a survivor, but we don't really know much about these three serial killers. We don't have anything to kind of go on, or why we're interested, or that they kill in an interesting way for an interesting reason. There's literally nothing. It's as bare bones as you can possibly be. And as I say, so that's really the issue. The only really thing they had was the main survivor girl, that if she continues to live, what's the psychological damage? How's she going to evolve? That's the only thing to go on. So for me, I'm mildly interested to see the second movie. Only if that is the next scenario, and if it isn't, I won't be going to see the third, because I just think it's kind of a waste of time, really. It's a weird one. It's a very low recommend from me for this movie. It wasn't a bad movie, it was just a very slow burn, not a lot happened. And again, gore and kill and suspense and stuff, like there just wasn't enough of it there for me. And at the end, it's very unfulfilling and sets up a sequel, potentially not, but I kind of want there to be a sequel in order to make the first film worth my while. So if you're a horror fan out there and you absolutely love any horror movie and you're a big slasher fan, then you'd probably get something out of this movie. I'd recommend go see it. If you're somebody that likes a bit more highbrow, or likes a lot of gore, or anything like that, you're very particular about your horror, I wouldn't recommend this movie. So it's kind of recommend from me on this one. Very low recommend. It's okay. Maybe when it comes on streaming services, it's worth a watch, and who knows, maybe the second film will redeem it. But until then, guys, that's it for this late night screen review. Until then, stay safe, stay scared, and we'll see you soon. Bye.